I don't know. No offense to chili people out there, but I don't find pleasure. Like sometimes it's done tastefully and it's good,
Yeah,
but most of the time I'll pass.
definitely. No, it's an acquired taste for sure.
It is. It is. We'll kick this thing off. We're recording, but I'll probably
Cool.
edit out some of the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
This is episode 2 of the Stereolust podcast. First one that's going to have video. Welcome, Hakeem. Thanks for coming on.
Nah, man, appreciate you for having me, man. It's been a long time coming, and yeah, like I said before, man, it's a blessing to finally catch up with you. And yeah, man, I need some more beats, bro. I need some more beats so we can
For
get that.
sure, dude. They'll come eventually. I've been out of like making music for a little bit, but I'll get back on it.
For sure.
What better way to kick it off than let's get the Hakeem origin story.
Yeah.
Who inspired you to make music?
Oh man, I remember the first time I listened to hip hop music was when I was about like 8 years old. It was with my cousin, my older cousin, Chris. He actually put me on. I remember as a kid, every Saturday, I used to play tennis. And then before tennis, there'd be, Rage TV. So we'd watch all the newest videos, music videos, and then um, I remember vividly D12, my band, with Eminem would play on and on and on and on. And I was like, man, this video is cool. Like he's like getting his 10 game like on, pretending to be, he pretended to have security and act like he was the main guy, the main character in that video. So I remember just watching that and being like, I really like this type of music. But I don't know where to get it from. Just, a kid watching, these music videos whenever they would come on every Saturday morning or whatever it was. And it wasn't until my older cousin Chris, we would go to his house um, and just hear him blast 50 Cent, Dre, Snoop, all like all the original stuff that you would hear, and even beforehand, like Pac and Biggie, things from the 90s even. And I remember sitting there being like, man, this this is like a movement. I want to be a part of this. I want to be able to make music like this one day. And I wasn't even, a gifted anything. I was just a kid, like man, like I didn't know anything about hip hop. I didn't even know what hip hop meant. Um, and it was just yeah, continually listening to that and getting my music from him and being like, this is crazy. This is tight. Um, I want to be able to like learn more about this. And yeah, as time went on in primary school, it was always just like LimeWire. All right, newest hip hop. So then we tap into like Lil Wayne and that
Oh,
whole like era of music. And I wanted to be Lil Wayne in my early years of high school. I was like Wheezy this, Wheezy that. I wanted to get dreads, like everything. I wanted to mirror
damn.
my whole style, like Lil Wayne. And then as I grew, I just kept tapping into um, yeah, what hip hop was about. Why is it so unique? Does it feel relatable? And yeah, that's
Why does
kind
it
of.
feel relatable to you?
I feel like it was, growing up, I was always a bit of a, you know, bit of a rebellious kid. um, I didn't know why. I just wanted to be the class clown. And
Nice.
listening to music, it kind of resonated, my emotions. Being out of place all the time. I kind of could just channel, my personality, my persona, within, that whole that whole personality trait of just being a person who was just always loud or always this, always that. So it helped me stay focused and be like, oh, there are people that are expressive. I didn't know what it meant to be expressive. I thought just getting in trouble was, what I do without even knowing. Why? What does it mean to be, in trouble all the time? Why do I? So I think yeah, it put me in a place of like, well, like this is such a beautiful escape, to be myself, um, and have people, understand why that I am the way I am and how I relate to this sort of music. So Yeah, just tapping into, like listening to Tupac as a kid, for example, being like,
Mm.
man, this guy's such a great storyteller. Like he's been through so much, and trying to, find parallels within these great musicians and being like, oh, I really resonate with what he's saying. I might be a 10-year-old kid, but like there'd be like two lines that would resonate, or, why why being rebellious is important to the fact that it actually can pave a way, for a voice, and not just, for the sake of getting trouble or causing mischief, but for the more positive, stances in life.
Like to be able to make a statement and
Exactly.
actually like put yourself on the line when you need to.
Absolutely, absolutely, for sure. And that's another thing. Like I feel like the word rebellion has such negative connotations because, if you just want to go out there and cause trouble, then there's no real point. You're like, what is the message
Yeah,
behind where you want to stand? And I think when you incorporate the things that your own experiences and the reason why you want to call out something that is wrong, that's where that's how I understand rebellion. I understand rebellion as like I'm going against something that is not right. Similarly to like when we use the word revolution, like we revolt against something that is not, not normal, and we want our
yeah.
voices to be heard. Um,
I
so
think there's something that I heard which is like a real star, like a superstar, is someone who people love them, but then there's also people who hate them.
mm,
And I think it's because when you're like being the truest expression of yourself,
mm,
there's always going to be, you're always going to rub certain people the wrong way.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, you nailed it on the head. Not everyone is going to be a fan of you, but the people that are a fan of you will understand the message that you're trying to portray. And I think
Mm.
once you put yourself in a room full of like-minded people who understand you are the way that you are, um, to send a message and to portray your experiences, most people won't necessarily understand it, and that's their issue. It's not for you to try, to fix it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's where that there is a big shift between those two
So
stances for sure.
you make music for self-expression, um, but like there's also the aspect of it that you love the craft, you love
Absolutely.
like it's just a good time. You've been on stages recently, like actually performing. What part of it? I don't know if this is like maybe it's a bad question. You can answer it any way you like, but
No,
how
no.
much of it is like self-expression and making a statement versus just having a good time? And because
Mm,
music is awesome, like
yeah, nah, bro, that is a perfect question, man. I feel like it's a mix of the two, right? It depends on how expressive or political you want to get into. I kind of like to be in the middle. I like to be expressive when I need to be and when I want to be. If I have something heavy on my heart, I will talk about it, and I will represent the voices that are also, sharing that same, oppression or type, they can't really speak for it. So I feel like I speak about it in one of my songs. Like there's a line about like wanting to be the voice of the voiceless. Like that's something that hip hop was, as a kid. That's how I understood it. It was a voice for the voiceless. It was always about projecting the message to the masses of people who weren't able to, kind of, get it or understand it. So it's about, everyone understanding it and being on that level. But expression and the craft, yeah, the craft for me is like, um, growing up as well. This is a bit of a side story, but like growing up, I didn't really understand that we had Australian hip hop in Australia, as stupid as that sounds,
yeah,
right?
me
Because I
too.
was so so heavily influenced by American hip hop. I was like, you know, American hip hop is all I knew, right? So based on the craft, so the reason I'm getting into this as well, like rapping with an accent. right? That was like, you know, first put out a song in 2011, 14-year-old kid, I'm from Melbourne, Australia, throw out my song. And it was always like, why are you rapping with an accent if you're from Melbourne, Australia? That makes no sense whatsoever that you have
Yeah.
an American accent. And my answer was exactly what you're referring to, the craft. It's all about the craft. By no means am I trying to be someone that I'm not. Absolutely not, because I can sit in this interview right now and speak the way that I am, and there is no American accent here, right?
Yeah.
But it's what I'm heavily influenced by, and it was by, you know, the stories, and especially with African American culture. Like every song that I put out is almost like a tribute um, to that culture, right? I'm not from that culture. I'm not African American. I have some, I like to say that I am African though because of my Egyptian roots, but by no means do I have the same struggle, and I'll never portray myself to be like I have the same struggle. But I am here because I want to, I want to give back in the same way that you gave to me. You guys inspired me so much. So the voice is kind of used as a tribute. And of course, from 8 years old to 14 years old, it was always like I had to develop a voice in a way, right? And it wasn't
Yeah.
until like, around that age, I was like, oh, damn, there are people like 360 and Cursor. And at the time, in 2011, or even earlier, it was more so tapping into rap battles in the Australian scene and in Melbourne. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then little did I know, there's French hip hop, there's, there's Egyptian hip hop, there's sorts of forms of hip hop that I was like, oh, wow, like this is insane. So for me, it was always about just wanting to, you know, being the originator, um,
That's
in
epic.
that originator mindset. Yeah, just like I want to be able to,
Also,
one day. Yeah,
sorry to interrupt, but is it
absolutely.
also because we listen to, like, most people listen to American music,
Right.
and you hear people from like British singers and stuff, they'll sing in an American accent too. Is some
Right.
of it just like that's how you learn? You would rap
I think,
other songs and then your own
yeah,
voice, like it's influenced by that, by what you grow up with, right?
absolutely, absolutely, and absolutely, and it was funny because we were talking about it like the other week, or like even the Australian anthem sometimes, like, you know what I mean? Like I remember
Yeah.
being a kid, being like, you're coming at like I'm, putting out YouTube songs, and I got a bunch of 25-year-olds hating on a 14-year-old kid rapping with an American accent. And I remember one comeback was like, sing the Australian anthem for me. Feel that patriotic. Like, even the tunes
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Australian anthem aren't even, depending on whoever sings it, of course. But I remember that. There's always that, look to America because they're killing it. But for me, it was like, I wanna, I wanna immerse myself in this culture, and I guess, yeah, again, that voice is more so a tribute, and just like,
I love
based on
it.
my inspiration, yeah, of artists that would rap like that. So
You mentioned a few of your idols, Park, Eminem.
yeah,
Uh, who who is like your goat? And on top of that, if you
yeah.
could play one song of yours to them, what would it be?
Oh man, oh man. It's crazy because it changes all the time. Like,
Yeah,
especially in the past couple of years, definitely J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake. The big three, of course. But yeah, just tapping into like the other night we went to listen out and we caught Jid set, and
so good.
JID, man, that guy, bro, like
How good is his
so
latest
much.
album?
It's insane. It's insane. Like Cody Blue, been listening to that on repeat. Damn, what other songs, man?
Uh,
Dance Now,
Dance
like,
Now is so
oh,
good.
Surround Sound, all these
Yeah,
just massive songs. Like Cody Blue is probably like the biggest track that has been on repeat, for the last couple of weeks because it's so meaningful to me. yeah, just his whole story, the fact that he went from never to forever, linking his albums and it kind of gives hope, as an artist that I'm like, man, he's been putting in that work for so long that he's finally out there showing the masses what he's about. So definitely JID.
At risk of being ignorant, is Cody Blue a song artist? I've never heard of Cody
Oh
Blue.
yeah, sorry, not Cody Blue. I think it's Cody Blue 31. Is a track on the album on the Forever
Nice.
Story. Yeah, yeah. So um, yeah, I think it's 31, not 81. I always get tripped up between the numbers, but
I don't remember
yeah,
any song names. Like I just
got
play
you.
the album, put it in my
Yeah, yeah.
playlist.
I mean, that's good too,
Yeah.
for sure.
You said Cole is one of your big inspirations.
Yeah,
I'm betting you hear this all the time. So I know you through a
yeah,
workmate, Nathaniel, who is
yeah,
your childhood friend.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He
It's my
put
boy.
he put me onto your music, and I think it was Oh No that I heard first,
Got you.
and I'm like Aussie J Cole. I swear, first thing I said, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
he's got, and like you could take that the wrong way, but that's a high
Nah,
compliment.
nah,
Like, because
definitely not.
J Cole
Nah,
is
absolutely, absolutely.
like the way
Absolutely.
you mix your own vocals, right?
That's yeah, yeah, man. Do everything from home, and yeah, on the last project, mixed it myself, but then got it mastered by Trey, Tui. Shout out to Trey. Um, yeah, yeah, but yeah, mixing from home, kind of learn from YouTube and stuff.
I love it. I love you do it in a lot of your hooks and sometimes like in breakdowns you'll layer your vocals a ton. It just sounds so
Yeah, yeah.
clean and it's very reminiscent of like the Cole sound aesthetic.
No, I
Um,
appreciate that, man. He's definitely the GOAT, man. Like 2014 Forest Hills Drive, that
oh,
album,
it's next level.
it changed my life. It really did. Like, come out of high school not knowing what I want to do, not knowing where I want to go. And by then I'd quit music. So listening to that album, I was like, okay, if I get back into music, I want it to sound like this. Like listening to the intro alone, told a couple of people about this, but the intro hooked me in from the start. It was, he repeats the words, "Do you want to be happy?" like over and over
Oh,
again in the
yeah.
intro. And it caught me because I was at a stage where I'm just finished school, high school, and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I didn't get the right ATAR. I was stressing. I was like, I've just, actually, no, I didn't quit music by then. I was working on some things, but I was on, it was right before I quit. So it was like, should I pursue this fully? Should I not? And then ultimately it was like, nah, like let's get my degree. Let's, whatever. Fast forward time, I'm like, man, I should have gone full steam ahead with music.
I actually
But the reason why,
I wanted to talk about
yeah,
that too because you stopped
for
making
sure.
music in 2016 and you started back
Yeah,
up like 3 4 years later.
yeah,
Why did you stop in the first place?
yeah, man. Oh man, it was a big, plenty of reasons. I was getting the biggest ego at the time. I'm like, I gotta make it. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I evidently didn't like making music. I was making music just so I could get attention, and I was making music because I wanted people to notice me, and I didn't really fall in love with it anymore. And that was the biggest change for me on the way back. Circled way back, and I'm like listening to Aussie artists, and they're doing their thing, they're killing it. Um, and at the time, yeah, this was like 2014, just finished school. 2015, I started making music, and there's Barrow and Remy, um, great Aussie musicians, like artists and rappers who are just killing it in the scene during then. And I'm like, I really want to fit in with these guys. Like, for the life of me, I just want them to notice me. I want people to notice me. I want to be on that pedestal. And I'm, putting out songs, and I'm not getting the same reception as they were. So I was a bit in my head. I was like, why don't people like me? What, like, come on, man. Like, this is screwed up. You have to know someone that knows someone. And I was being really bitter at the time. Um, just internally, you know, I never really voiced these things. And I was like, you know what, if it's making me feel like this now, I wonder what it's going to make me feel like later. So I
Mm.
think I should just take a step back. And when I'm ready, if I decide to come back, you know, there was always that thought, then I will. But I was convinced. I was convinced. I'm like, nah, it's just not for me. I've tried. You know, I've been trying since 14, and yeah, I would have been like maybe 18 or 19 at the time. So it's like, nah, it's okay, whatever. Um, yeah, and then it wasn't until you know, as beauty of God, I was in my church group, and a lot of people were like finding out that I just make music. And they're like, oh,
Was this
you make
after you had quit?
exactly, yeah. After I quit, kind of was like, oh, I'm a changed man now. Let me be productive with my life.
Yeah.
And still, mind you, still having the ego, but about other things now. Um, and people found out that I did music, so I was like, okay, if I want to get back into this, how can I do it the right way? How can I not feel like, I'm putting all this pressure on myself? How can I just do it on my own terms? And um, another cousin of mine, Kid Farrer, legend, he sent me uh, this clip by Andre 3000, and it was like, you shouldn't be making music um, if you're not a fan of your own music. Make your music as if you were a fan. And that kind of changed my whole mindset because I'm like, rather than previously trying to put out the things that I'm trying to catch ears and attention for, I could be putting out music that me personally, I could bump myself in the car, and be happy about it and be proud of what I'm making, um, just by myself. It doesn't need, like, I don't have to have my music painted everywhere, but I can be satisfied to the point where it's making me feel good. Like I'm doing this for myself and not for, for attention or for gain, which ironically is my biggest thing now. I'm just like, you know what? It'd be nice, it'd be nice to make it. It'd be really nice, not gonna lie. And that is the goal, you know. It really is the goal. And but it's a matter of, all right, just being true to yourself, like how far can you get by being true to yourself and wanting to put out you with the flaws, not flawless. No one's perfect.
I'm a big comedy fan, and actually, he's a rapper too. Childish Gambino. I don't think he does stand up anymore, but he's got a great joke. He's like,
Mm.
people look at me funny when I bump my own music, but if you work at Subway and you make yourself a sandwich, they don't bat an eye, right? And it's like, really, it makes
I like
sense.
that.
You want to
For
make
sure.
music that you would eat, quote unquote, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I respect that.
Soul
That's
food.
that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you do you sing or rap in the shower?
Oh, absolutely, man, all the time.
Your own music
All the
or other
time.
people's music?
Yeah, I do practice a lot. Absolutely. My own stuff, other people's stuff. The vocals in the shower make me feel like a singer sometimes. So
Yeah.
you get on my Alicia Keys thing, you know what I mean?
You can just really belt it out. Like, I don't know if other people can hear, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. My brother usually goes, "Hey man, like, be quiet, man. Like I'm trying to sleep." Or, my mom would be like, "Hey man, are you okay?" Like, say, yeah, yeah, just jamming out. Yeah. No, most definitely for sure.
I love that, man. Um, what does training season mean to you?
Training season. Training season is about a couple of mindsets, right? So put out two songs called the first one was Training Day, and the second one was How Many Times. And you'll notice between the two songs that so the first song, Training Day, is essentially about working on your craft patiently, knowing that you're putting the work in, knowing that the opportunities will come, but not necessarily being direct. It's just like, I got this. I know things are going to be okay. I just have to keep putting the work in and being consistent. Whereas how many times is like this bit of a boastful, like confident, you know, step out of your shell. Like, no, get these people to respect you because you have something. And that is just like, you know, the whole the whole thing about my life in general. You know, I've always had to battle between these two mindsets. To be on one end of the, one end of the room, being like, it's all right, like, and looking at others being like, you'll get there one day, it's gonna be okay. And really giving myself that pep talk, or just like, nah, like the next opportunity that someone gets off the stage, I'm gonna get up there and I'm gonna be just as good immediately.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it's just those two mindsets and my experiences of like, okay, I've always been battling which one to do. And it's always been the extreme. It's never been in the middle where you can be confident but not be boastful. You can be, consistent in what you're doing, but also want more out of consistency, want that recognition. Um, so yeah, that's just
I love
a
that.
bit of what it means to me.
Because that's kind of what hip hop is like that gravitas, and it is like a boastful genre. Like
For
sometimes
sure.
you want to like scream off the rooftop that like I'm the king, or like I don't know, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
man.
got that energy,
Absolutely.
like that confidence, and sometimes having music that represents that side of yourself as a
Mm.
fan, as a listener. If I'm having a bad day, I love to listen to "Can't Tell Me Nothing" by Kanye. It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
maniacally egotistical, but it sometimes it hits the spot. It
Beautiful. Yeah,
is.
it's his truth,
Yeah.
it's his truth. Like back on what we were saying, like everyone wants their voice to be heard. So, you know, it's just about just delivering who you are,
Yeah.
delivering in an honest way. If you're honestly this person, then say it. If you're this person, then also say it. Like it's okay, and I think that's what gets um, you know, that's why Kanye gets a lot of flack because he'll come out and be like, I am a genius. But to be fair, like I think he is,
Yeah.
like I really do.
He's
And
got the resume to back that up, right? Yeah.
for sure. And based on watching um Genius on Netflix as well, that made me feel like you have every right because he was knocking on doors. He was always, no pun intended, using every single day as a training day and question himself, how many times can I get there?
I
He
see.
did. Um, training day out now, training season out now, may I say. But
It slaps, by
yeah,
the way.
man.
It's so good.
Yeah, yeah. Appreciate you, man.
I think we're pretty close to wrapping up. I got a couple fun questions.
Absolutely.
Uh, I don't know. This is a new podcast. So I'm gonna experiment, and I'd like to have a tradition
Nice, man.
to end it kind of the same way each time. Let's start with
Absolutely.
what's your favorite emoji?
My favorite emoji. It probably have to be the dance emoji, man.
I
Yeah,
noticed you use
yeah,
that. I like
yeah.
it.
For sure. Have to be the dance emoji.
You're attending a potluck dinner. What dish do you bring?
What dish do I bring? Ooh,
Maybe it doesn't even have to be a dish. It could be like a snack,
yeah,
whatever.
probably wara. So in Egypt, they're like stuffed vine leaves. Can't remember. I think it's similar to a Greek
Is it
dish. I
with
can't remember the name.
rice?
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah. With
we have
rice
a version
and
of
also
that.
meat.
I'm
Yeah,
Albanian. Like you eat it with
got you.
yogurt, I think. Or we do at least.
Yeah,
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 yeah. That's it.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah. That stuff is good.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like that.
yeah, man.
Well, couple more things, but before we do, plug your stuff,
Yeah,
man. Like, where can people find you?
absolutely.
Where do you want people to go?
For sure, man. Pretty much Hakeem Fizzle everywhere. Spotify, Hakeem Fizzle. Instagram, Hakeem Fizzle. Twitter, Hakeem Fizzle. YouTube, Hakeem Fizzle. Wherever it is, it's just Hakeem Fizzle. So, yeah, man, if you guys are a fan, if you guys, want to check out and ask me questions as well, I love, like, I love interacting with people. So, I'm always going to be behind my phone, checking things and, uh, answering questions. But, yeah, man, Hakeem Fizzle.
Love it. Um,
That's H to the AKEEM, Fizzle. Yeah, that's sorry, bro. Sorry, I just
no, no, no.
you know,
You're good. You're good. Um,
just have to put these things in there, these little Easter
for
eggs.
sure, dude. You're a class act, man. You're super
Nah, man.
talented. You're gonna blow up.
Appreciate you,
I
man.
can see it. I can feel it.
Appreciate
Your
you, bro.
music
One day,
is.
man. Whatever God wants, bro.
That's right. That's right. Let's finish this off by. I want you to make a time capsule for yourself. One sentence or word to imagine yourself 10 years from now. What do you want to tell them?
Ooh. Talking to myself or to people?
To yourself. Your 10-year-old.
Talking to myself.
Yeah, I got to figure out a better way to word that, but the
Yeah.
10-year
Oh,
old version of
bro.
you.
Damn. Peter, Fuad, if you're watching this, just know that life is what you make out of it, and there is still time to do and achieve whatever you want. We're gonna make something happen, but we just gotta get there. We just gotta keep hustling. That's all I'd say, man.
Respect. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Appreciate you, my man.